much-awaited King of the Hill revival brought back the familiar warmth of Arlen, Texas, and reunited most of its original cast, but it also left a noticeable hole. Two beloved characters, Luanne Platter and Lucky Kleinschmidt, are completely absent from the new season, and their absence casts a shadow over the otherwise nostalgic return. Played by Brittany Murphy and Tom Petty, respectively, Luanne and Lucky were a big part of the show's final years, but both actors sadly passed away years before the reboot was made. This meant the revival couldn't bring them back in their original voices. It's not unusual for a revival to lose a few cast members, but King of the Hill handled this differently depending on the character. For instance, Johnny Hardwick, who voiced Dale Gribble, passed away before season 14 but was recast so the character could remain in the story. Jonathan Joss still voiced John Redcorn before his own passing, and Tom Petty was given a tribute. But when it came to Luanne and Lucky, there was no appearance, no mention, and not even a quick update on their lives. It feels like their entire existence in the King of the Hill world was quietly erased, which is odd considering how much fans love them. This is especially strange because most other returning characters got at least a small nod. We know what happened with Good Hank. We got a quick update on Junichiro. Yet for Luanne and Lucky, who ended the original run as a married couple with a baby girl named Gracie, we have no clue where life took them. It's as if they disappeared from Arlen entirely, and the show isn't ready to talk about it. Fans have been left guessing, did they move away? Did they stay close by? How is Gracie doing now that she's older? The revival doesn't confirm anything, and the silence feels heavy. Showrunner Saladin Patterson has explained that they didn't want to recast Luanne and Lucky out of respect for Brittany Murphy and Tom Petty. That's understandable. Recasting beloved characters after the original actors pass away often feels wrong, especially in a show where the voice acting is such a huge part of the character's charm. Patterson even used a sports analogy to explain the choice. Just like a team retires a player's jersey, to honor them, the King of the Hill team chose not to bring them back in another voice. Instead, they tried to honor the actors in other storytelling ways without directly replacing them. But here's the problem. Fans weren't necessarily asking for a recast. What they wanted was closure. Even a simple, throwaway line about Luanne, Lucky, and Gracie would have gone a long way. Something like, Luanne and Lucky are doing great out in Oklahoma, or Gracie's already driving her folks crazy at school, would have been enough to let viewers know they're still part of the world. By ignoring them entirely, the revival unintentionally makes their absence more glaring. It creates an unspoken question hanging over every episode. Where are they? This isn't just about tying up loose ends. It's about emotional continuity. The original series ended with Luanne stepping into adulthood, raising her baby alongside Lucky, and slowly finding her own path. Fans invested in that journey, and the revival skipping over them feels like losing contact with old friends. It's hard to fully sink into the warm nostalgia of King of the Hill when you keep noticing who's missing from the table. It's worth noting that the show's revival did make room for smaller and even one-off characters to get little nods. That's why the lack of acknowledgement for Luanne and Lucky stands out even more. When viewers see that Junichiro, Hank's half-brother from Japan, got a brief update, it's hard not to wonder why the show couldn't spare a moment for characters who were so central to the later seasons. Some fans believe the choice was also about avoiding any kind of emotional downer in the show's lighter tone. After all, if the writers decided to say that Luanne or Lucky had passed away, it would bring a heaviness to the revival that might overshadow its comedic spirit. That's a fair point. But again, the solution wasn't necessarily tragedy. It could have been something simple, sweet, and uplifting. The writers could have shown that they're happy, raising Gracie somewhere nearby, and still part of the extended Hill family, even if they're off-screen. There's also the fact that Luanne and Lucky weren't just side characters. They were family. Luanne was Peggy's niece and essentially like a daughter to the Hills. Lucky was Hank's brother, in-law, and part of their inner circle. They weren't just casual friends from around town who could vanish without explanation. In a show where relationships and community are everything, their unexplained absence feels unnatural. What makes it more frustrating is that King of the Hill has shown it can handle sensitive topics with care. The series has a history of addressing real life losses in subtle, respectful ways. A short scene, or even a background detail, could have honored Brittany Murphy and Tom Petty while also letting fans know their characters are okay. Now, with the door open for more seasons, there's still hope. Mike Judge has already said he's interested in making more King of the Hill as long as the audience keeps showing up. If season 15 happens, it could finally give fans the long-awaited update on Luanne, Lucky, and Gracie. Even if they're never shown on screen, a quick mention would tie a neat bow on that part of the show's history. For now, the absence of these two characters hangs over season 14 like an unfinished chapter. It's a reminder that revivals, no matter how fun and nostalgic, can't always fully capture the magic of the original if they leave too much unsaid. Fans will keep laughing at Bobby's antics, Dale's paranoia, and Hank's eternal struggle to understand his son. But part of their mind will still drift to that quiet corner of Arlen, wondering how Luanne and Lucky are doing. If King of the Hill really wants to bring back the complete heart of the original, it doesn't need to bring them back physically. It just needs to let us know they're still part of the family. Because for fans, they always will be.